So I moved to Tokyo to take a corporate training job. And when I was in Tokyo, I started learning about Kampo, which is the Japanese way of looking at health from a traditional standpoint. And I was looking at the statistics, right? And I was seeing that, like, Japan, for, the size that it is, has a pretty relative high amount of smokers, and yet a very low amount of what I would call residuals from smoking. And I was like, well, that's crazy. And I was looking at the way they eat, and I was looking at, cultural differences, and, they have a ginger festival. It's amazing. And I realized, I was like, there's something going on here. Then I moved to Hong Kong. When I was in Hong Kong, I started doing all these like garden tours, and I went to this place on Llama Island. They had like this herb land, and I started like learning about herbs, and I became really interested in mycomedicinal. So I was interested in mushrooms and all kinds of things. And then I got sick. So when I was in Hong Kong, my body took a nosedive. When I was in Japan, a lot of environmental laws, super clean, super healthy the entire time I was there. Climbed Mount Fuji. It was awesome. Then I moved to Hong Kong, and literally they were burning trash on my street at the end of each night. And you would come home and there was like this white powder all over the street, and it was like rat poison, basically, to kill vermin. So you're like, this may not be the best for my health overall. And I suffered like huge collapses within my body. I wasn't breathing properly. The mucus in my nose turned black. I had a kidney infection. I had a urinary tract infection. I had like 5 different infections going on in my body at the same time. So I went to the doctor, and they said, do you want to see a Western doctor, or do you want to see a Chinese doctor? If you want to wait for Western medicine, it's going to be a longer amount of time. But if you want to see a Chinese doctor, we can get you in today. So with my very broken Cantonese, I was like, let's do this. We're going to go. And luckily, the doctor spoke pretty good English, but we also communicated a little bit in Cantonese. And when I got to them, they had deer antler hanging from the ceiling, and they had all these little jars everywhere. And the first thing they did was take my pulse. And I was like, eyes, like saucers, like, what is happening? And he looks at me and he says, your fire isn't hot enough. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? My fire isn't hot enough. So he said, fire's hot enough, you're out of balance, and we're going to try and put you back in balance. But you need to drink this. And so he put 5 little packets of herbs in front of me. Maybe it was like 10. And he said, you're going to drink it with hot water, and you're not allowed to drink ice cold drinks anymore. No ice cold drinks, only lukewarm or room temperature or hot drinks. No cold foods, only hot foods for the next like 7 to 10 days. So I called my mom, who you don't want to call when you're calling and you're super sick, from Hong Kong. And I was like, I think I'm going to die. She was like, why do you say that? Because it's got to give me a bunch of herbs. And you told me my fire wasn't hot enough. It's not, I don't think it's going to work. And I'm really scared. And she's like, so she's crying on the phone. I'm crying when we're crying on the phone. And then I took the herbs, and guess what? 24 hours. 24 hours, I was feeling better. 48 hours, 100%.
Wow. And
then by the end of the week, I was better than ever. And I became obsessed. I had to know. How did this happen? What is in this? What physiologically happened in my body? Because I didn't take antibiotics, and I didn't take any of these crazy, pharmaceuticals that we have access to. And I didn't do any of that. I took literally hot herb extraction teas, and that's it. So I came back to the United States shortly after that. I was going to go to start teaching at the medical college again. I had to wait until the new semester started. I was all signed up to start teaching again. And I decided I was going to spend the summer working in a health food store just to like learn more about herbs and just kind of hang out. And then I was managing the health food store. And then I was looking after a 3-store chain. And then I was helping customers, and I was helping people. And it felt great to be in the aisles and to learn more day by day and learn what products were out there. And then I met a representative from Nutraceutical, now the Better Being Company, and I started to be a sales rep for them. And then I got picked up by a new chapter shortly after that. And then I became the director of education for New Chapter, which is what I currently do today. And in that journey, I became a board certified master herbalist. I became a certified lactation specialist. I gained a certification in nutrition from Stanford. And I've been really lucky to be on this path. And it's driven purely from love. I mean, it really is. It's like, you know, I just love helping people so much, and I love supporting their proactive journeys in health. And I love that moment when you explain something in a way and their brain just, and you can see their eyes light up and their brain just turns on and you say, they got it. And it's life-changing. And we are capable of these simple interactions and connections every single day. And I don't think we realize that. So what I do is a gift, and I'm really lucky to do it.
Well, that's really, you know, that's the story of a seeker. You started off with the curiosity, and you're traveling, and then you encounter this adversity, right? The seekers, the great seekers of the past, they always have some type of adversity that they endure. And then, you know, you found a way through it. Obviously, you had this amazing opportunity to meet this Eastern medicine specialist. So that experience, before that experience, did you ever have any type of firsthand experience with Eastern medicine, any belief in it, so you're going in there, just, that's your only option, right? Because the other doctor's not available. So you come out of that, you feel fantastic. How does that affect when you come back home, the way you approach, you know, let's say you had a cold again, did you look at pharmaceuticals the same ever again?
No, I mean, and here's the thing, and people, I think, sometimes are surprised at my view of pharmaceuticals, which is, hey, sometimes you got to have them. Absolutely. You know, and you got to work with your medical provider to figure out what's best for you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, you know, and I've never claimed to be, and I don't want to mislead anyone into thinking I'm a doctor. What I am is someone who is passionate about botanicals, who's done a lot of research and a lot of studying to try and figure out, you know, the ways that botanicals work in your body. And now that I know some of the things that I know, yeah, I look at things entirely differently, because I think, as a personal belief, that we should look at natural options first, right? Why not? Why not try the plant-based way first, right? Why not look at what's nature's wisdom got to say about this first? And hey, if that doesn't work, yeah, by all means, do what you got to do. You know, I don't want to keep anyone in a prolonged state of suffering. That's not what we're doing here. But I do look at things like ginger, you know, and again, I'm not associating this with any product, but there's research out there that says 500 milligrams of ginger is just as effective on pain as ibuprofen. And yet we're a nation that continuously takes ibuprofen, and we understand the way that NSAIDs work on our digestive system, right? We understand that's not really helping your digestive system in the long run. And yet, you know, we see people who are consistently, you know, taking this. Personally, I have not taken ibuprofen in the better part of a decade because I manage things through botanicals for my personal body and for my personal health, and that includes ginger. I'm a huge fan of it. I mean, I love all of my herbal children equally. I joke about that, but ginger is definitely one of my favorites. And you know, yeah, so I absolutely look at it. I look differently when I look at my kids' health and how my kids eat. And the fact that we have foods in this country that are literally banned in other countries because of the ingredients that they, you know, contain. And yet people give them to their kids here all the time, and they have no idea about the ingredients that are within and how they could be affecting their little bodies biologically. So yeah, I definitely think it's been a game changer for me. It's been a game changer for my family. It's been a game changer for those that are around me and those that I love. And, you know, again, it's just this gratitude that I have just to have this knowledge and pass it on to others.
Charlotte, you know, because you're in the space of education, did you ever think of like writing a children's book, you know, specifically, you know, kind of giving the baseline introduction to just little herbal ingredients to kids? Is that ever something that popped into your head?
You know, it never popped in my head. I'm actually in the middle of writing a book right now. And so that's been really a labor of love and also frustration because there's so much. And so, you know, part of you starts working on something and you're like, well, this could be another book. And you're like, no, stay focused, stay the course. But at the same time, like, I love that idea of introducing our children and to these ideas and to these plants that they actually, you know, I can't help but wonder, you know, we don't do a lot of nutritional education in the United States. People tend to get maybe a half semester of health in high school, and then that's it. And that covers like everything from sexual reproduction. If, you know, you're in a state that allows that, all the way, all the way to like, you should eat fruits and vegetables, right? Yeah. But there's nuances. I mean, there's so many things. And so, yeah, introducing kids to plants and botanicals and herbals and what they can find in their yard. And that dandelion that you think is just a dandelion that's so much fun to blow around. Did you know the leaves are actually great for helping to flush things through your body? And isn't it amazing what dandelion can do? And I just think that we don't look at plants that way. We look at things as weeds, and we cultivate lawns full of grass that have no value except for to the eye of the beholder. And we could be cultivating land that has, you know, botanical benefits. And that's what I'm trying to do too. So.
Yeah, the reason that popped in my head right away, as soon as you spoke of ginger and your love for ginger, and then you quickly accounted to speak of your love for all of your botanical children. I immediately just pictured a children's book that introduces like 6, 7 well-known herbs. And it's not to talk about nutrition to the kids. It's just to introduce those plants to them. That's it. And the leading character would be ginger. And then you have, you know, Tom Turmeric. And then, you know, maybe have some, you know, we can figure out something else.
Lucy Lemon Balm. Come on. It's the mid-family.
Yeah,
you gotta get crazy in there.
And you know, I have 3 kids, and the age between them is 10 and a year and a half. And it was only after I started working out, really strong efforts at working out, showing up every day. It was only these last 4 days when I couldn't work out. I literally couldn't work out. The only days I gave myself a pass that I couldn't do it. And I started seeing the alignment come in from the fitness. And then I started saying, well, I'm putting all this work into my body. Now I have to align myself. And I started going on the internet, and that became the rabbit hole that is an infinite. There's too many places to go. Luckily, I have access to my industry experience. So I know brands that are good. I knew where to start. I knew influencers that are speaking about this topic. And, you know, I've been able to attend events where I meet someone like you. So all of this to say, how does someone who finds the light bulb and says, you know what, I care about my health, now I want education. Mm-hmm. How does someone start? What's step 1 in educating yourself on proper nutrition?
Know thyself. I know that's going to be not what a lot of people want to hear. Sometimes people want to hear a website, or they want to hear, but, you know, nutrition is an individual journey. And sometimes we're not ready, and that's okay. I mean, it really is okay. You know, I shared with you that I've been in health and wellness for a really long time. During the pandemic, I gained a lot of weight. And that was, again, part of that journey, right? But then I found myself in this part of the journey going, I got to make some changes. I got to figure myself out. And the first thing I had to do was get really honest with myself. Because it's funny what we tell ourselves, right? You know, when we're in these moments and we're like, oh, I'm just going to do this real fast and it's not going to count. like the faster you eat something, the more it doesn't count, you know, and I totally would do that. And I'm literally studying nutrition. I know this, right? But it's funny what your brain tells you. The other thing is that, and I see this a lot with people that I work with when I consult, is people just get used to feeling crappy, right? Like their day where on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, their 4s are their good days, you know? And they're like, oh man, I'm having a good day because I actually got to the end of the driveway for my paper, and I didn't have stomach ache all day. That's a solid day. And I'm like, wow, that's right. As good as it gets, huh? So knowing yourself is huge, knowing what's possible and opening up those avenues and being really honest with yourself about what you're doing right now. Are you sleeping? Are you drinking water? Are you moving? Are you eating things that make you feel good when you eat them? Or are you eating things that make you feel guilty or sad when you eat them? How do you feel when you're eating?
How do we keep the sense of alarm at a high level without being in a panic mode? I mean, because that's what I sense that the kids are going to benefit from, that they went through it and that they'll learn the benefits of good health.
Yeah, so I think you touched on a lot here. The first is that you know, my little guy is 7 now. He was, you know, 4 when the pandemic started, and I remember the day that we got sent home from the office and the day that they canceled school and everybody went remote. And so we went from a situation where everybody had school to everybody is learning in my dining room. and we're all in the same room together. We're all trying to figure this out together. And, you know, he was really young at the time. But I think his biggest takeaway was, I get to be with mommy all the time now, which is like the 4-year-old's dream come true, right? I mean, he was like, mommy, like for real. So that was awesome in some ways. In other ways, it was really hard because you want your children to experience socialization. You want your experience to, you know, school. But there were things that came out of it. Like, I had no idea how much our 9-year-old now, which she was 7 then, was struggling with reading. She would come home with progress reports and they would all say, she's doing well. We read at night together as a family. But I had no idea how much she was struggling until I was really there with her every single day, realizing it. And then, you know, we were able to work on it together. And I became much more involved in my children's education from a point of not, you know, just taking everything for granted and like, oh, they say they're doing great, so they must be doing great, right? Like, we're doing it all right. We're doing homework at the end of school and we're reading and, you know, we're doing it all right. And then you realize that like these foundations, and these are key learnings for me. We do this in the American, you know, learning system. We teach the fundamentals, like in 3rd grade, they get multiplication systems, right? And if you don't learn that properly, you cannot be successful in 4th grade. You cannot be successful in 5th grade. You cannot be successful in math for the rest of your career unless you really get this at 3rd grade. And yet how many kids get C's or D's or barely pass through and then are passed on and they've set up this foundation for failing? We do this with our bodies, okay? We teach our children how to treat their bodies by the way we treat our bodies in front of them. And so again, we're setting that foundation all the time. I don't think people realize that. My parents were not health oriented. My mom wanted to lose weight my entire childhood. And the way that she approached it was slim fast shakes and skipping meals and beating herself up mentally. And I saw it every day as a kid. And I thought, that's what it takes to lose weight. And if that's what it means to be skinny, I don't want it. And
astounding was that they adapted to going to school from home faster than I adapted to working from home. Although, you know, I had the luxury of working from home before, but that was always my choice. When it became me looking for a job, me working from home, trying to figure out how I'm going to, you know, take the next steps. And that was me working from home, me literally trying to figure it out. And I had these 2 bookends that kept my perspective in check, because I was like, I really can't balk at this. I got 2 kids here that are really not giving anyone a hard time. They're very well behaved in class. They're even participating, like they raised their hand. I'm like, Jesus, like, okay, I got to take it easy on these 2 kids. Like they're pretty well behaved in school. But I found it very challenging. And that's where the physical fitness training became the life-saving force in my life. And that's why I want to bring this subject up to you, where they say nutrition is 80% and then, you know, working out's only 20%. Working out became 100% for me because it was the structure of my day. My entire day was structured around what's going to be my mindset before I go to the gym? I wasn't taking any kind of meeting that potentially could go south or that could put me into some kind of, I was not letting anything going to affect my mindset when I go into that gym. So I was having those tough meetings either after the gym, so I had that endorphin, or I was doing it on a day where maybe I had like enough gap. So let's touch on that. You know, what's your take on that 80%, 20%? What's your take on it?
I mean, I think that's a generalization. Everybody's body is different. So I gained a lot of weight during COVID, you know, again, a lot of reasons, no movement, no socialization, high amounts of stress, easy proximity to my refrigerator. It was making cupcakes and cookies with the kids. It was awesome, but it was rough, right? What a rough life, right?
Well,
so gained a lot of weight. And I decided I was going to realize, I was like, you know what, Charlotte, you know how to do this, girl. You coach people in this. You're going to do it for yourself. You do it. So I told my husband, I was like, we're going to do a vegan challenge. Get ready. We're doing it.
Was your husband vegan already at this point?
So he was vegetarian.
Okay.
And he is still a vegetarian. But veganism was like a step beyond. But I wanted this because I was like, we're going to cut out all the bad. We're going to do all the good. And it's going to be amazing, right? So we did 4 weeks. We were planning to do 4 weeks. We ended up doing 6 weeks because we wanted to keep it going because we liked it. You know, it was kind of fun to experiment around and see what we could learn and new cooking techniques and stuff. And, you know, soaking cashews to make cashew cheese. It was crazy. We had a great time. But then I went to my doctor and it was hysterical because my husband, who is extremely alive, extremely muscular. I always call him bionic because seriously, the guy is like beyond. He had lost 5 pounds that he did not need to lose. He looked like svelte, like with the big muscle. But I was like, wow. I gained 7 pounds during this vegan exercise. So it was completely the antithesis of what I had intended. So I went to go see this new doctor that they had recommended to me. And I sat down with her and she goes, I want you to keep a food journal. We're going to look at your food journal. I want to see what you're eating. I was like, cool, awesome, let's do it. Kept a food journal, brought it back to her. She barely looks at it and says, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. And I was like, lady, I'm a freaking vegan. All I eat is fruits and vegetables. What are you talking about? She looks at it again. She's like, well, more of a variety. I was like, Are you looking at this the way that I look at it? I was like, I'm on the candid camera or something. And then she goes, but if you're not having success with eating healthy, you can do these metagenics or these healthy shakes and you're going to lose weight. And I looked at her and I was like, you want me to give up my healthy vegan meals for a milkshake like twice a day? I was like, no. I think we're done here. And I got up and I left. It's the first time I ever did anything like that because I'm usually super polite and super, you know, but I was like, we are done here. And I got up and I left. I fired that doctor. I was like, ow. So I went and I was really upset because I was like, but I'm eating, like I'm doing the right things. I don't understand. And so again, connection, right? Starting to realize how I'm feeling. I'm stressed out all the time. I'm worried about the kids. I'm worried about the pandemic. I'm worried about getting sick and leaving my kids behind. Again, this visceral fear within me that is permeating my entire life. I'm living within these 4 walls. I'm not going out. I'm not socializing. I'm not having social experiencing. I'm not moving my body. I'm not doing any of these things. And I decided to go see another friend and who was a doctor and he's a naturopath. And he looked at me and he said, you ever think about lifting? And I was like, no. And he goes, well, yeah, some people do really well with cardio. And again, that's awesome. But why don't you try lifting? If you ever tried it, why don't you try lifting some weights? And I was like, you're suspect. because I
You
didn't
were
see,
skeptical.
oh my God, I was so skeptical. I was so skeptical because all I could see was like, if I'm going to gain muscle, aren't I just going to gain weight? And like, what's the point? But then I know, I literally have training. I know that muscle burns more caloric, activity in your body. I know this, and yet I couldn't get it past here, right?
Right.
So this is where it starts to get crazy because I told my husband, I said, I want to lift. And he's like, well, we can't go to the gym because it's in the middle of the pandemic and all the gyms are closed. What do you want to do? And I was like, we're going to order these weights. And it was like, we're going to do it. So we ordered these weights and it came with a whole set. And it was called Les Mills Body Pump. So just so you know what I was doing. So it was like cardio mixed with like a like lifting. So I remember doing it for the first time and just dripping with sweat in our living room. I mean, we are a mess. We are a mess. And then I had to go upstairs and I was in so much pain. I could not make it upstairs. My thighs are hurting. Everything's hurting. I don't understand. And it was nice to do it with my partner because he encouraged me to keep going. And he was like, day one's always hard. Let's try it again. He's like, even I'm hurting today, which made me feel good because he's bionic, And,
he didn't let up. He pushed you. I mean, you had a great partner there pushing you from day one.
I mean, I think it wasn't pushing as much as saying, let's do it together. Like, I support you. It's okay. Right. It's okay to fail. It's okay. You don't have to lift perfectly. You don't have to do this the right way around. So I remember just doing it consistently and we would do something every day. It wouldn't necessarily have to be the lifting, but we would do something every single day.
Sure.
And I wasn't like losing a lot of weight, but I was feeling freaking awesome. And I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, yeah, let's go. And all the back pain that I had been experiencing, like I used to wake up in the morning and my back would hurt. And I'd be like, I don't know why my back hurts. Like maybe it's my kidneys or something. But really, it was just I wasn't moving it. My body was stagnant. And that went away almost immediately. Amazing. And then I got crazy. Then I was like, let's do it, because the more you get into it, you start feeling good, you start going for it. So now I'm 85 pounds later. The naturopath I went to was like, you're almost like in Oprah territory.
Wow.
Yeah,
what I hear also is just the joy of your process. Like, this is an agonizing journey, right? So, it easily could have been frustrating. It easily could have been very difficult to persevere. You had some very good components here. You have a great partner, a supportive partner. Obviously you have the education, so you had that wherewithal there. But just you described your experience watching your mom not wanting to have it to be an agonizing journey. So I hear your joy in this process. That's what I'm getting from you.
So one of the things that I realized in this whole thing was when you love people around you. And I love being a mom. I mean, being a mom is like the ultimate. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. I love being a partner. I love being a trusted member of the team at work, which means I'll give you everything. I'll give you all of it. You want it, baby, you got it. You want my time. You want me to, run like crazy across an airport. I will do it for you. You want me to, stay up till midnight working on a report because we need this for an 8 o'clock meeting. I will be there for you. But I had nothing left for myself. I had nothing left for myself. And I realized I had a dear, dear friend who was also my partner at work who passed away from cancer. And she saw me burning out early. And she told me once, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I was like, yeah, I got it. But then as I got into this process, I realized that I had given everything to everyone and left nothing for myself. And when you leave nothing for yourself, you can't give as much. And that's really what I wanted to do, is I really wanted to keep giving. And the only way to do that was to give to myself. And I know that everyone thinks of that as being selfish, but I look at it now as being self-full. And the more full I am within myself, the more I can give to others. And that's totally worth the investment. I love to lift. I love to go on my runs. And the days that I don't, and here's the thing, like I hear myself right now, and there's part of me that's still, well, Charlotte, but it's like, oh my God, You love to run. Look at you. Like, what are you talking? Your day doesn't get started until you run. Are you going to drink your green tea without any sweetener in it? Yes, I am. I love my green tea without my sweetener. I love my plain green tea now. But again, I hear myself and my whole body is like, girl, you know. Do I still eat a chocolate chip cookie every now and again? Yeah, you bet I do. Do I still make cupcakes? I make the best cupcakes this side of Mississippi. I swear.
I bet you do. I bet you, because I tell you the missing ingredient is joy.
I am insane. I love it. I love to make fillings for it and the whole thing. And I enjoy my cupcakes. But what I love the most is there's this Zen experience that happens when I'm taking the time for myself. It happens on my runs more frequently now because I get to run outside and it's a beautiful time of year in the morning. And I have this trail run that I do that doesn't have any cars on it. And I get out there and I just run and I just feel the sunlight on my face. I hear my music in my ears because yes, I'm a runner who has to have music. I'm sorry. I know it's not a purist running thing, but true.
Oh, I didn't know that's a thing. I can't run without music in my ears. I didn't know that that's frowned upon.
So there are people who are like, oh yeah, you gotta like really like zone. But again, I can't do that without music. I love my music. I love to feel the energy of the artist and the sound and then the experience. And there is a point, and my brain never shuts off. Like I swear I can wake up at 3 a.m. and be like, I have a great idea. But when I'm running, my brain will shut off and just be. And I carry that with me for the rest of my day. When I'm lifting and I find that moment where I was like doing bicep curls, you know, and I used to do 15s and I graduated to 20s, right? I'm like, hell yes, there is a moment there that just, you feel it and you feel the strength. We had a health fair at work yesterday and they were doing grip strength, you know?
Right.
So they were like, do your grip strength, you know? And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. Like, because I'm emceeing the event. So of course I'm on a microphone. And I'm like, here's Charlotte, like doing grip strength. And so I'm squeezing it. And they're like, 36. And they're like, that's freaking awesome. And I was like, who's going to beat me? Who's going to beat me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it felt so good. I'm like, my body can do things now I could never do. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for it every single day. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I got to be honest with you. Don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But today I feel damn good. Yeah. And that's a gift and I don't plan on wasting it. So.
Well, that's brilliant. You know, I know we were talking about vigilance, but what I found when I approached you about, you know, coming on this conversation with me, having this conversation with me, or having a conversation with me is really because, you know, I could sense that there was such a profound story with you. And, you know, we live in this storytelling era where there's just so many great stories. And there always have been, but we never had access to those people. Mm-hmm. Now we have access and now we can tell these stories. And now it's just a numbers game. It doesn't really matter who comes across the story. It's just a matter that your story definitely reaches someone, connects to them. Any part of things that you said, it maybe helps them align or helps them feel that there's a place for them to grow. Because you were well established in your career at the time of COVID. And then you have this profound awakening on the physical fitness side. And so, you know, 3 years ago, what would you say to 3 years ago, Charlotte, you know, before COVID, and looking at what you've been able to transform mentally and physically in the last 3 years?
So I think that there's a couple of things. One is that when the student is ready, the master appears.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, you got to keep learning. That's why I love education so much. You got to keep learning. You can know so much about your field. You can know so much about, and here's the thing. I knew everything I was supposed to do and I wasn't doing it. I knew all the supplements and all the things in my cabinet that I had access to and all the health experts that I have as a network. And I still did this. And that's okay. You want to know why? I had to learn something. I had to learn this for myself. Right. And I had to go through this, not for anyone else, not because, you know, and again, I love sharing my story. I love being a storyteller and I love telling you. And if you get something from this, that's awesome. But I gotta be honest, I did this for me. And when you do it for yourself, there's something different that happens. I could give all day to everybody else, but I had to do this for me and learn this in this lifetime. I don't know, to like evolve. I mean, it's like I might get my final Pokemon form, maybe. I don't know. But I love it. And the thing is, I don't take it for granted. So that's one. Two is be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
We're so hard on ourselves. We're harder on ourselves than anybody else is. Right. And the way that we talk to ourselves in our heads is really devastating, I think, a lot of the time. Also, you know, you make the choice. You make the choice on where you put your focus and attention. You make that choice every single day. Are you going to focus on that one person at work who doesn't like you? Or are you going to focus on the other people who value you? Are you going to focus on the one part of yourself that you don't like? Or are you going to focus on the rest of the parts that you really do like about yourself? Are you going to focus on the parts of your life that, you know, again, you have the choice all the time. I tell them in social media and in life, you find what you seek. If you are looking for the good, you will find it. If you are looking for the bad, you will find it. Whatever you are going to go and spend your time looking for is exactly what you will find. So use your time wisely and really pay attention to what you're looking for and why you're looking for it. That's it. That's all they really got to know, because here's the thing. It's not just in social media. It's in school, in life, in friends, in partners. Right? If you're looking for a partner to complete the missing part of you, guess what? They can't do that. There is only one person who can complete that missing part of you. It's you. So look for that part within a place where you can find it, within yourself, right? If you are looking for, you know, something to inspire you, you know, where do you find inspiration? Is it going to happen in front of a screen? Maybe. There are movies that are inspiring. There's good things out there. You know, science school books are great. Like, you know, there's tons of resources, tons of inspiration out there. But where are you looking, and will you find what you're really looking for there? So I just asked them that, you know, what did you learn today? Cool. What did you want to learn today? What is something that you didn't find out?
Question.
You know? Yeah.
That question. What did you want to learn today?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because here's the thing. And I gotta say, I grew up in this traditional model of education, which was all about you will learn X, Y, and Z today. And I still remember when I was in 6th grade, and I had a really great, like, social studies history teacher kind of guy. And he was talking about women's rights and how women were persecuted and they weren't guaranteed the right to vote. And I was getting hot. Like, I was pissed, you know, and I was like, how could this happen? Why was this happening? I need to know. And he looked at me and he's like, well, I didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, because I was pissed. I was like I was 11-year-old Charlotte who just needed the truth. We needed to know what was going on. And I wish somebody would have asked me, what didn't you know today that you wish you would have gotten to learn a little bit more about? Because again, I didn't really learn about things until I went and sought the knowledge. They didn't teach about the Holocaust when I was in school. I learned about that because Schindler's List came out as a movie. And my parents thought it was a really good idea to take me to go see it. Again, I mean, we got issues there. That's okay. I would never take my kids to see that movie. But again, I'm grateful that they did, because it opened my eyes to something that was real, that happened, that I needed to learn about, to pay attention, because I believe that, again, I wasn't seeking the sadness. I wasn't seeking, you know, I was seeking to make sure that it wouldn't happen again, right? And that's something that I continue to seek. So sometimes, while it seems that your kids may be into some dark stuff, while it seems that your kids may be into some things that you think is too adult for them, ask them what they're hoping to learn from that, and learn for yourself what your kid is into and what their path is, because everyone has a different one. And so again, I'm really big on that.
Oh, I love the way you communicate. You make me want to go, like, practice on my kids and like talk to them. They're going to be so annoyed at me. I'm going to be asking them a lot of questions.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so funny because I went to the pool. My kids are in a summer program. And so my 11-year-old, who's going to turn 12, forgot his birthday invitation. So I went to go deliver them. Right. So here I am at the pool, like, here's mom, like, coming to deliver these invitations. And I made them. I was so proud of myself. I made these like little Fortnite, because he's really into Fortnite, like little invitations. I'm so excited.
That's
Walked
awesome.
over, is delivering them. I was like, hey, Pete, look, I brought your birthday invitation. And he's like, thanks. And just kind of like takes them and looks around, make sure nobody's seeing us. And
The
he
health
shoves
and
them.
wellness space, I was fortunate. I think we're all fortunate that we work with, individuals, companies, brands. We come across them in our day to day, and we get implicit influence from them. The most impactful category in our industry that's affected me positively is the medical practitioner space. I supplying ingredients to those companies. What it allowed me to do was really understand how customized, each doctor is catering to different patient base. They might have geriatric patients, they might have younger patients, and they might have different types of specialties. And then they try to build a category, a portfolio of products. And I'm just really supplying ingredients, but then I want to learn how to sell more ingredients. So I have to learn about the portfolio, and then I have to learn about the doctor, and then I have to learn about a lot of other things. In learning all about them, I end up being inspired by them, because here are people that are taking, maybe they're doctors from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Okay. That's the most senior professionals in their space, the ones who have the most knowledge. And they're the ones that are looking at, interventional type of medicine. They're the ones integrative health. They're the ones that are really changing on the fly, the ones that are at the most senior level of their career. The young ones, I get it, right? If you're a 90s kid and you're a doctor now, I get it. You were born in an era where this was maybe more profound. My pediatrician, just to give you some perspective here, this is gonna knock your socks off here. When my mom was pregnant with me, the doctor, that the pediatrician that she would go see, was born in 1912. Like, that's insane. I mean, that's an insane thing for me to comprehend, that I was seen in my early years by a doctor born in 1912.
So my grandma is 96 years old.
Wow, God bless her.
And my grandma was told not to breastfeed.
Wow.
My grandma was told that, you know what, science is taking care of this for you. And the formulas we make now are so superior to breast milk. Oh my gosh. And you don't want to do that because it's messy and it's actually very unhygienic, and it's bad for the baby because it makes them super attached to you. And babies have to be independent very, very quickly. So just give them formula. And you know what? Sure did. And then when my mom had me and my brother, my grandmother immediately told her, don't breastfeed. Right. You're crazy. Like, oh my gosh, like, you're not going to give them enough nutrition. And when my brother was thin, they all blamed it on my mom. They're like, he's too thin because you're breastfeeding, And now we know so much more about this. I mean, as a lactation specialist, I talk to women all the time, and there's all these rumors and pervasiveness about, it's dirty, it's not good for the baby, there's not enough nutrition there, you can't produce enough. I mean, women go through so much. And again, some of it's just this legacy science that, again, get it, you have science that exists from previous times that validated these opinions completely. And yet we know something different now. And so again, we have to have this open mindset, this evolution. And so, yeah, I mean, it still exists, and we still have a lot of education to do around it, but I get excited. So
can I ask you to just, dive into your day to day? Like, I'd love to, be able to share with people, what you do for New Chapter. If you want to talk a little bit about specifically, what you love about New Chapter, and your day to day and how you interact with. I know you do a lot of training online and with retail sector, and I'd love to hear really, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'll just take you through my daily. So I wake up early. I'm an early bird. I like
Pre
to
sunrise.
sometimes, I mean, in the summertime that's hard because again the sun's out pretty early. The wintertime for sure, it's like no
Yeah.
problem. But definitely an early riser. It can be anywhere from 5 to 6, but mostly it's closer to 5:15, 5:30. I got up, I hang out with my kiddo who's already up because man, he knows how to seize that day. And so we have a little us time, where we're just chilling with each other. I slam some espresso. Yes, I am a coffee girl, so I definitely do a couple shots of espresso to get my day started. And then I go for a run. So my usual path is 5 miles during the day. I like long runs on the weekends. And then I come back and I lift, even though I know you're supposed to lift before, I got to get myself in the mindset. So that's what the run is for. And then I take a shower and then I'm in front of my computer ready to jump on anywhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. So that's when I start to organize. I'm really a big believer that you plan for your day. So you plan what you want to accomplish. You plan. So I usually do it the night before. The last thing I do for the day is what do I want to accomplish tomorrow? Who do I want to connect with? And what are my goals? Because if I know what I want to do with my day, it's so much easier to achieve it than if I'm nebulously going into being whatever happens is going to happen today. And again, sometimes the chaos theory comes in. That's cool. I can at least take that goal and put it on the next day so I don't lose focus, I don't lose track. So I jump in and I can do anything from sometimes we have meetings internally, we're developing a new innovation, we're talking about how we want to connect with the customer on it. I do social media for the company. So sometimes it's social media planning or trying to figure out a message track for certain weeks or events or holidays that we want to talk about on New Chapter, the New Chapter social media. Then I can jump into a training. So I do large trainings, or I can do individual trainings, or I can jump into all sorts of making training materials for our sales folks. So those are all things that I could do during the day. I had a great conversation with Mark Blumenthal from the American Botanical Council today, which is amazing.
What a guy, right?
Mind blowing. I mean, he's just a visionary. Wow. They're visionary, and he was calling me because he said, I want to know how I can give more service to you and your team at New Chapter. And I'm just like, I love you. I love you. Right. Like, and I gushed so much. You're gonna crack up. So he gets on the phone with me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Mark, I'm so excited to talk to you. How are you? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm like, how are you? Because I just couldn't let it go. He's like, they're like, gonna go in here or something. Did I already answer that? And I was like, but it was just gushy. I was so excited to connect with him. I didn't want to tell me that he was fine or he was good. Like, I wanted to know how Mark was. Like, I wanted him to tell me the essence of his being. And again, maybe he wasn't really ready to go there with me.
You were assessing his fire.
But I really wanted it. And so we had a talk, and then I get to be here with you, which is so fantastic. I do podcasts for the company. I write blogs for the company. If there's a wellness fair, I MC it. The other day we had a national sales meeting, and it was 80s themed, and I dressed up like Axl Rose and hosted a trivia night because that's what my job required me to do that day, which what a gift, amazing. I manage a team of product experts. I'm so proud of every single person on that team and their knowledge and the way that they give to our customers and connect with our customers. They're such a phenomenal team. I'm so grateful to be on that team with them, and they are awesome. So sometimes it's coaching, sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes it's just listening to what customers are saying on the phone and thinking, well, wow, we really need to think about that more as a team. And that's just just scratching the surface. So I love to, I get to do speaking engagements, everything I talk on, everything from herbalism to quality to the immune system, all that kind of stuff. So again, I get to have a lot of fun. And then at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, depending upon the day, I wrap up. Yeah. And then I do herbal consultation for community members for free. So I love to give back. I think that I personally think healthcare should be free. I know I'm being very controversial here. So not everyone in our communities can afford medical care or have access to medical care.
Right.
So sometimes people want to just consult with an herbalist. And so I make time in my schedule to consult pro bono for people in the community who may have questions or needs. And sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. That's totally cool. But the service is completely free that I offer because it's my way of giving back. And I do that.
Beautiful.
Same thing with my lactation consultation, and same thing with my nutritional consultation. Sometimes it's a blend of all three and sometimes it's just one, but that's how I get back. So after I finish with you today, I actually have a 5:30 with someone in the community who is going to get an hour session. And then I make dinner with fam and we all eat dinner together, just like that 1950s dream of all eating around the table together. And then I run a bath for my youngest, and then we sing songs and talk, and maybe there might even be a little classic Nintendo thrown in there. You don't know. Mario 3, dude. I am like the queen of my house at that, and so I'm not giving up the title. And then if I don't fall asleep putting my kid to bed, because I'm super guilty of doing that, sometimes I tell my husband, I'll be like, I'll be right down. And then he comes up and I'm like curled up next to my kid, just like passed out. And he's like, she's done. But sometimes I like to get back up. We can watch a show together. We can read together. We can spend some time together talking about our day. And that's me. So I like to spend time in my garden when I can. Sometimes I'll hop out there at lunchtime and pick tomatoes like I did today. So that's me.
You know, Charlotte, I've had so much fun talking to you. You know, this whole experience of being, we had talked about the Zoom meeting, and, you know, you got to be, you got, whatever you put in is what you're going to get. And I'm unafraid, no matter how uncomfortable I am, I'll still put myself out there. And so like, I would be on the Zoom call and I would make calls and I would have the meetings and I would talk to who I have to talk to. Sometimes I was talking to people that I knew, so I didn't feel as uncomfortable. But it was when I spoke to new people that I was getting very traumatized by watching myself speak to someone. And all these years, I was like, boy, all these years, this is what I do with my face. This is what I do. Why am I doing my head so much? And so many things that never entered my head while I'm talking to someone, and I would lose my train of thought. And I just couldn't get past how uncomfortable I was. And I said, wow, if I'm going to have to sell online in perpetuity, then I'm done. Stick a fork in me, man, because I can't do this. And then I started, but then I'm again, that ego inside me was like, you're not going to quit. You got to figure this out. So I started having conversations with friends to practice, but those conversations ended up like becoming like podcast worthy, where we were like, oh man, that was really good. We should post that. And then I started accumulating a lot of conversations. Every week I'd have a conversation, and I started getting more insight into, you know what, you just need to just change the perspective here. It's you see yourself because you see yourself, but instead the content has to be what drives you. And so now, you know, I've gotten to the point where I'm excited to have someone on and talk to them, learn about them, and then know that this is actually going to help someone else. Even one person comes across this. And, you know, my plan is that it's going to be on a long form on YouTube. And, you know, then it'll be cut up into nice little excerpts that talk on certain topics. And, you know, we can use those topics to kind of just drive a certain topic or drive a certain conversation. And if it helps one person even find some knowledge or be a catalyst to seek knowledge, all of us are seekers. And so I found my own way with the help of these conversations. And I listened to podcasts along the way to kind of learn like how people do it. And I'm still learning my own path, and I'm still building a business, and I'm still doing all this stuff, but I never felt more comfortable being uncomfortable than I do today, because of the opportunity to do this, to talk to someone like yourself. And, you know, I met Mark Blumenthal at the Pequot event during NBJ. I just ran up to him. I didn't take too much of his time. I was in front of him on the line, and he was like, you don't want to get something? I'm like, no, what would you like? You deserve the drink before I do. I was only going to get an orange juice. And then he's laughing at me. And then he's like, I remember you. Looked at my badge. He's like, I remember you from last year. And that right away blew me away. And so that sense of comfort in community and camaraderie. And I said, wow, one of these days I can't wait to have a chance to talk to Mark. And,
Sure.
and so I came from a year ago, I would have just been a thought that fleeted. And at that event, it was like, I just put him in my ledger and I said, I'm going to reach out to him. And, I've reached out to many people, and, after NBJ, I have a nice schedule coming up where, I've got calls scheduled over the next several weeks with multiple people. And, everyone's got their own little journey, and everyone's got their own little role that they're playing in this industry. And, I feel so privileged that NBJ Summit gathers so many people that want to do something meaningful. And in the speaking engagements, even Keith Ferrazzi was speaking very, very, how wholesome was what he was talking about. And then he talks about his 6 adopted kids, right? Like,
what I love is that he was like, it's still hard. And I was just like,
that was heartbreaking. And
thank you for not sugarcoating me. Like, and now everything's beautiful. He was like, no, it's still hard, but we're still in it together. And I'm like, yes, brother, because oh my God, it was amazing. It was I
went up to him afterwards and I said, what you said and how you said it was so believable. And, sometimes these things are a little rah-rah and you're just like, okay, you take the good and you just walk away. I was like, I wrote down to a message to my wife. I said, I met my role model. And I showed it to him and I said, I'm not trying to tell you anything that maybe, you just met me and I just met you, but that was real. And you don't need to be, you've already established yourself and you don't need to share any of this stuff, but you live, eat, drink this. Our health and wellness industry is full of individuals like this. So, I've been using this opportunity to have these conversations. And, I thank you for being so eager at that event, at NBJ, at that dinner, when I proposed this to you, to agree to this. And, you carved out 2 hours for me to talk to me about, just our industry in general, but I really wanted to kind of go beyond the industry and go beyond the title and, go beyond who we work for and what we do. And, you really gave me really great insight into where you come from. And, you only left me wanting to know even more. So, I hope that I definitely am going to keep in touch with you, Charlotte. You're going to hear from me because, even if it's just, a phone call to check in and catch up and maybe consult with you on some nutritional matters.
I love it. I love it.
I need to have someone like you in my circle. I want to equally be of value to you too. So, I want to be better so that I can be useful to you. But you've been such a joy to talk to. I really loved hearing your stories and learning about you and to know that we've only just started.
We've just started. And the cool thing is that people say this all the time. They're like, oh yeah, reach out anytime, open door. But here's the thing, and I love saying this, I really mean it. Like, I mean it. I love hearing from you. I will be so delighted to take your call, to get your email, to get a text, like anything you got. I'm really excited. And I would love to talk more. I'd love to meet more of your circle. And again, thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for putting yourself out there and coming from an uncomfortable spot, because that's where growth really happens. Nobody ever grew by being comfortable and staying in one spot. It doesn't happen. But by putting yourself out there, being uncomfortable, that's where real growth happens. It's where the magic happens. It's so good. And just being with you here today, it reminded me a lot of some of the things I haven't thought about in a really long time, which was really good for me, but also it was nice to connect with you and listen and learn from you and remind myself to stay uncomfortable, because that's where learning and growth comes from. So thank you for that reminder. And I look forward to many more conversations in the future, my friend.
Oh, I appreciate you. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful evening and enjoy. I know you have something lined up for the rest of the day, and then hopefully you get a good chance to defrag and enjoy it should be I know it's a beautiful day here for us. It was raining in the morning, but it's a beautiful sunny afternoon for us. So
it's nice here too.
Lovely. All right. It's been enchanting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.